Okay, welcome into another episode of Strange Ways. And unfortunately, I think what number 10 or 11? Let me double check. I got to start
I think
memorizing
it's
this stuff.
10.
Uh, 9. Yes, episode 10. So for that, I will turn it over to Scott for the introduction and get things going.
All right, guys, we're going to do an album that, well, in my opinion, is kind of controversial between Kiss fans. A lot of Kiss fans. I'm kind of in the middle, but some can't stand it and some praise it like it's holy grail. So there you go. I'm pretty sure you can guess what it is. It is Revenge. We're making
Nice.
a quantum leap here into the future from the makeup days. And we're going to see where this goes, guys. I mean, album that was put out at a time when, in all honesty, they needed something like this. I will not, doubt that. And actually, an album that, when it first came out, it was another one that I did not know was coming out. I was in a music store at a mall about 2 counties away, and they had, we walked in, and the counter was that picture right there was the counter, and they had the posters and the big posters in the background. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Man, I
I
missed
just remember
it.
Paul's jacket and how much I loved that leather jacket, man. And I seen them and I'm like, damn, this is a transformation. But it didn't hit me then. The transformation of, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
And that's how I found out it was coming out. And actually, I think it was already. No, I had to come back and get it like 2 weeks later. It hadn't come out yet. It was getting ready to come out. 92.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
there you go. Kiss Revenge.
And it's funny you should mention the polarizing aspect of it because, like I said, me and Darren just did 1992 today, and of course, Revenge was on my list. And going back the other night when I was doing the song order, I thought this album's not as great as I thought it was. I still like most of the album, but when it came out, I was maybe so giddy and overcome with the new heavy look and heavy sound that I valued it more than it actually was. I mean, it's still fairly high on my all-time Kiss list, but it used to be in the top 2 or 3, and it's nowhere near that now.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember where you placed it when we done our albums or whatever.
And that,
But
yeah, I don't either. It was in the top 10, I think, but
okay. But you said something that is kind of like me, man. When I seen it, I'm like, damn, this looks a little rawer, man, than what they have been the last few years. Of course, it's going to be better. Okay, I mean, when it comes out, you've just went through Crazy Nights and Hot in the Shade, the kind of glam era, of the band,
yeah,
and it was like a breath of fresh air to me. I'm not going to lie. When I first got it, I mean, I was in love with it, like everything they come out with, until it grows on me, and I have to, see how it soaks in. But to me, over time, it just hasn't. I don't know. It hadn't stuck to me. It's always been
yeah,
about 50-50 with me. But anyway, it's. I'm not going to down it because I think it's a damn good album. I think the sound is great. I think it was produced excellent.
yes.
So the tour was fantastic.
I never got to see that one. I wish I would have. It never came anywhere near us.
Yeah, it was. I got to see it twice. And it was a damn good one. I mean, it was, I will say, the loudest concert I ever heard. I think I've talked about that before.
That's what you said. Yeah, you said that before. It's
Wow.
odd for us because I saw Hot in the Shade twice in 2 different towns in North Dakota. And then Revenge comes out. It's nowhere near my state. If it was in Minnesota somewhere, and I didn't know about it. But
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Looks like they would hit somewhere.
you'd think. I'm sure it was in Minneapolis somewhere, but anyway. All right. So how do you want to start? There's 12 tracks on this, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I guess I can
Okay.
start it off. Well,
All right.
we're going to start out with, well, a song
Is that your
that
cat or mine?
that's mine. She's
Okay.
when I come home.
We're looking around because we heard that cat.
Yeah, yeah, she's pretty vocal. She's the only one that's like that. It's like when I get home, she's like that for a little bit, and then she'll calm down, here in a little bit. Yeah, she's all over me, man. I can't get away from it. A song that I can't say I didn't like when it first came out, and to be biased, I guess, and to be a little bit uh, controversial with it. I think when I seen the music video, it made me dislike the song worse. And that's, I know you're not supposed to allow things like that to judge, but I don't know how the hell you can help it sometimes. But it's not a song that's actually took to me at all. And I don't think the last time I ranked this, it was dead last, which has been a while. And it's Every Time I Look at You, the ballad on here. It's
That's right.
it's actually,
Paul's 5 o'clock shadow drove you nuts, didn't it?
yeah, man. I after I digested it, I thought, well, all he needs is a cowboy hat and some boots and some Wranglers, man, and he'll be right there in that video, man. But I can't say it's a song that I disliked when it came out. It's just one that I have not liked as time has went on. That's
Sure.
They done a pretty good job with it on MTV Unplugged. I thought I probably like that one better than I do this one. And that's something you'll rarely hear me say.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my number 12, no secret to my viewers, I am not an instrumental guy. And Car Jam falls at number 12. Now, when I got the album originally, I was just tailing into that Kiss rules all and everything they do is the best on earth. So I took pride in Eric Carr kicking the shit out of the drums and showing all these other, bands that were getting way more credit than they deserved what a great drummer he was. I never liked the guitar riff song part of it, ever. I don't like the song. What was it? Breakout?
Breakout.
Yeah, I never liked that song. I don't like this guitar riff. I don't think it is. Beside the point, the drum part I always thought was cool, but at the end of the day, it's just drum solo. It's not a song. So that's why it comes in at number 12. If you don't got vocals, you're not gonna place above even the worst song on the album. It's just because it's not, to me, a complete song.
Well, that's next for me. So, and this was probably the last time. I probably shouldn't have listened to this album the other day. Again, maybe it was still wound that way. But I kept seeing Paul's. Never mind. Car Jam is my 11. It's next in line. And like you said, Eric Carr, every time it takes me back because the first time I ever got to see Kiss, that was the drummer. The first several times I got to see them. it was Bruce, Eric, Paul, and Gene. So,
Yep, me too.
and I thank God for that because, in my opinion, I love a lot of bands. I've seen a ton of bands, and I've, I've, he's the drummer number one over all of them that I would pick if I had to pick somebody and put in my band. I love the drumming part too, and like you, uh, Breakout's not a song that ever. It's probably one of the weakest on Fraley's Comet album. That
Right.
it's not one of the stronger songs on that album to me either. I ain't never been that crazy about it. Um, but I think they were just in the studio, is what I heard, screwing around, jamming out, and that's why they took it and put it on here. I don't really know the whole story behind it, but that's what I heard. So, yeah, that's my 11.
Okay. Number 11 to me is one that puzzles me to this day. If Kiss ever did a song that made no sense to me, from the lyrics to the song structure, especially, it's Spit. I don't understand where they were going with this, especially what are you doing with the Star Spangled Banner solo in the middle of the song? It doesn't fit. The whole thing's just a jumbled mess to me that seems like it was edited together off the cutting room floor to put something on the album. I just don't care for it. I don't care for it lyrically. The chorus is weak. And like I said, that solo, just, you're like, what? What the hell is this? It's not even the right tempo. I don't know. It just does nothing for me.
Well, that's my next one too, bro. That's number, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my number 10. Okay. And when I heard this for the first time, I remember, like, well, that's interesting. I mean, I don't know why he's saying spit. Guys, you look like on this album, you look like a bunch of tough metal, Metallica, Megadeth slash guys with your goatees and all that shit. Are you afraid to say shit? I mean,
Well, yeah, and it's not like it was ever going to be released, so they didn't have to worry about radio.
so,
I mean, you could swear if it's not a radio hit. If you're not going to release it to the public for, media play, you can swear all you want.
yeah, I know. I mean, if Jackal, and that's who opened up for him. It was Trickster, Jackal, and Kiss. It was fucking great fucking show. And Jackal comes out there and sings "She Loves My Cock," but y'all can't say shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy.
I mean, dude, come on. So yeah, and the Star Spangled Banner. You're right. I think don't take me 100% for this, but I think that was Bruce Kulick's thing. I think he was like a big Hendrix fan, too. And I will say this: if putting that in this song is the reason they done that at the end of the show like they did, then I'm for it, because I'm telling you, one of the best endings of a Kiss show I've ever seen.
Oh,
I mean, they
on a
rock.
live 3, on a live 3, that's tremendous one. But that's the whole song, not just the first 3 bars and then go into something completely different solo. Like I said, to me, it didn't make sense.
It didn't me either. Gene's, I'm the one with one love. Don't mean spit to me. I don't, like I said, I don't know, man. I questioned them a lot of times when albums of theirs that, in my opinion, could have been one to me now, one of the top albums of their fucking legacy. Um, right here, and they put stuff like that on there. It
Yeah.
does make you question. Answer me this: if I'm a big band of any kind, I don't believe in fillers, man. I don't. If
No.
I don't want to put nothing on my album if I don't like it, dude, or I don't think it goes, or I don't think it's finished, or whatever, dude. I don't know how that works for me. You know, I don't know how that works in the business and all that stuff. So that's what it sounds like. It sounds like something that was thrown together, and maybe probably one of the last things like the car jam and put on here for whatever reason. There's 12 tracks. You didn't have to put the 10 tracks on this album. You know, just
Yeah, 12. That surprised me when I saw there was 12. I didn't realize that. I'm like, really? I always thought there was a shorter album.
yeah. Well, coming off of Hot in the Shade, I guess it does. You know, seem, but hell, it's not too far
What
off.
they have? 15 on there on Shot in the Shade?
Yeah, 15 or
Yeah.
16. I know. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Let's see.
Okay, so that was your number what?
That was my number 10. That was your number 11. So you're up.
Number 10 was released as a video and got all the popularity in the world, and I did not understand it in 92, and I still do not understand it to this day. The only real skippable track on Alive 3 for me, Domino. I don't get it. The video is beyond ridiculously cheesy. The song itself, I mean, this is Cadillac Dreams, but dumber. I don't understand where their head was at. He thought he was being cutesy or funny or something, but this song does nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. In fact, I think it makes him look like an absolute buffoon on an album where he outshined Paul Stanley at almost every turn. He puts this piece of garbage on there. The only reason it ranks above Spit is because it's got a little bit more of a melody to it than Spit, but it's a joke. This is an embarrassment, like, you know, Phantom of the Opera and you know, a few other things for me. I cringe when I hear Domino come on.
Well,
That's
yeah,
why I
I'm not far from you. Yeah,
Oh,
I
you're
mean,
not.
I'm not far from you, bro.
Okay.
You got it. I just got it ranked. I'll get there. But anyway, and what got me is I've never been crazy about the song either. And live, it was okay, but damn, dude, really? I mean, y'all could have put anything else on this damn on that concert, but Domino?
Yeah, why? I mean, they had Unholy and I Just Wanna. I mean, if you're going to add another one, when did they do Every Time I Look at You on Alive 3? I haven't listened to it in a long time.
I don't think they've done that one.
Okay, but
No.
you could have easily thrown Paralyzed or Thou Shall Not or something else on there. I suppose they did it because this was a video slotted to be done, so that's why. But who chose this as a single to be released? I don't understand that. See, there's a dynamic behind the scenes between Paul and Gene, or producers or record companies, that have made a lot of bad decisions, and you know they can't all be in agreement over the years on these single releases.
Yes.
So whatever.
And it shows. And
Yeah.
when you do that, man, you really don't realize the damage you're doing. Sometimes I don't know if they think it through, but anyway, here's another one that my number 9. Now look, this could have been 8 or 9 right here, because we just touched on what my 8 is. But when I first heard this song, the only thing that I made myself like it. I made myself like it because we were riding I think we was going to Charlotte. I actually remember it. Why I remember stupid shit like this. We were heading to Charlotte for some reason. I can't remember exactly what. But this song come on the radio. Nobody knew who it was until they started singing. Okay. And when I hear Paul's voice, I'm like, man, that's Kiss. What the hell is this? Okay. God Gave Rock and Roll to You. That's the name of my next song, which is number 9. And I was so excited that they had put out a new song. And at that point in time, we didn't know it was a soundtrack. Because this was, hell, this was 91, bro.
Yeah, Bill and Ted.
This was the summer of 91. Yeah. That's how much earlier this song was out before the album came out. Yeah, for that movie. But as times went on, here we go. You know, I mean, when they start jamming and the lead's playing and they're really, you know, I dig that. It's the off balance, slow down singing with a I mean, look, dude, I just, there's certain things about songs, man, that just throw me into a wedge sometimes. But it's not a horrible song. I'm not gonna say that. They done that one, you know, live, but it was pretty good live. I will say that. I mean, it was so damn loud. Anything they think they would have done would be good. But it's another song that's not aged good with time to me. That, you know, I don't know. There you go. That's all I really got to say. The sound of it was great, but I just didn't. It was so up and down and back and forth, and yeah.
Fair enough. My number 9 is going to be Tough Love. I like when Paul gets, tougher, no pun intended, in his vocal stylings, but this one comes across a little whiny in the chorus, and it just doesn't, the tempo is too offbeat for me. It's too slow for the type of song it's supposed to be. I think this should have been a little harder driving, a little quicker, especially with some of the others he has on here. So I always hate rating a Paul song lower, but this one really, even at the time, didn't do much for me. And that's why, going back and remembering what I thought and which songs I played all the time, I don't know why I held this album so high, because there was only a handful of songs I ever played a lot. And this just wasn't one of them. Not a bad song. It's just not something that this should not be a problem I would have at all leaving off an all-time Paul Stanley list, put it that way. I mean, it's just neither here nor there.
Okay, fair enough, man. I'm not far from you, so okay, here we go. Number 8. Domino. Yep. Everything you said. I don't understand a lot of it. Gene and that bitch bends over and I forget my name. Yeah. You know, I mean, come on, man. I mean,
he thinks he's so damn funny, and it's just annoying.
Yeah, he does sometimes, and look, I'm a lover of cheese. I mean, I'll admit it. There's a lot of stuff that I love that's cheesy, and I love it, man. I don't care the lyrics could, but I think the only thing that I really, really, really liked about this song was the ending of it, live because they let it draw out that. I mean that was killer. But yeah, Domino, dude. I mean, uh, in all honesty, I know he's talking about. Everybody knows what the hell he's talking about, but what has it got to do with Domino? I mean,
Yeah.
what relation does that have? I've never heard a saying relating that to what he's talking about, I guess. Maybe. But anyway, that's just one of those songs that you got to stick somewhere. And like I said, that could have been below God Gave Rock and Roll to You, or God Gave Rock and Roll to You could have been in this spot. Either way, interchangeable. I like them about the same. There you go.
Now that I think about it, after you're talking about it, they could have clipped that chorus and it would have been a perfect commercial slogan for Domino's Pizza, right? They
Yeah.
call it
Hey,
Domino's.
yeah. 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 Hey, there you go. Because I'm seeing their Applebee's commercial quite a bit with
Yeah.
rock and roll all night, of course. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 8, you just touched on God Gave Rock and Roll to You 2. Not sure why it's part 2. Is that because it's a remake? I don't know. I used to like this quite a bit when it came out. I think the video, like you said, we shouldn't be letting that, influence our decision. But when you're younger, you have no choice, right? Something makes you like something, whether, whatever it is.
It gets
I
stuck.
loved and seeing him in that warehouse that's got that like half-inch of water on it and Paul's slamming around with his boots and the water's kicking up to the drum beat. It was just so badass. But as time progressed, I'm like, this is the longest fucking song I've ever heard.
Oh, I
It won't end. It won't fucking end.
know.
I think they found the right place for it finally. At the end of shows, when the lights come on and people are filing out, you play that in the background. That's perfect. Other than that, I don't care to hear it anymore. Not that I hate it. Like you said, it's not a terrible song. It's one of those that took very little to become overplayed for me. And I think that's what happened to me over the years. Mainly because, Kiss didn't get a whole lot of attention on MTV, but they sure loved playing this goddamn song.
Yeah.
It was the only video you could see. I mean, it kind of just wore me out, really.
Well, yeah, I'm with you on that too, man. I just I don't and I didn't think about that till you just said it. The length, man. It seems like this song. It sounds like you're listening to 100,000 Years on Live One, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And I love the hell out of that. But it's
Yeah.
long. It seems like it draws out forever. I guess
Yeah.
because how slow it starts out, But I don't know.
Could be. And then they go into the middle which is cool with the acapella trade-off type thing. I mean, they did that well versus
Yeah.
Eat Your Heart Out, which sounded absolutely horrible. I mean, this was actually really cool, but add that with the slow, drawn-out intro, and all of a sudden, this song is just seemingly Stairway to Heaven length, even though it's not. And you're like, Jesus, next track, please.
Yeah, and this song's almost exhausting, because it's so up and down, man. You just don't know what tempo to hold. I don't know, but anyway, number 7, I Just Wanna. And now, before we get too far in, I want people to know, just like always, there's nothing on here that I really hate. I mean, just can't stand to just be in the same room with or anything. I don't think there's nothing on here that bad to me. There's songs on here that I won't go out of my way to listen to now, but as far as absolutely just despising and just, like Peter Chris's and Gene, half of Gene's solo album or nothing, no. I mean, if there is a couple, it would be my last two, my, bottom two there probably. So, but anyway, maybe Spit, maybe my bottom three, but I never really hated anything on this album. This was just another Kiss album. It didn't really I was about 22 or 21, 22 when this came out, and it didn't grab me like it did a lot of people. So I guess I'm trying to have a understanding of some of these people that really hold this in high regard as their top Kiss albums, or something. So it didn't grab me that kind of way. I'll just put it that way. But I just wanna, I like the song. From here up, I like 1, 2. I like these next 3. The top 4 on here is what I really love on the album. So, but anyway, I just want to, I like the studio version way better than I did live on this one. Paul, this is a fast-paced song. I mean, really fast-paced. And he struggled to keep up in concert with these lyrics, man. I had a body never seen and I had with time to pass. And I mean, it was really, but he did. I mean, it sounded good, but it didn't sound as good as the studio version, that's for sure. But that's just
No, you're referring to a Live 3's version,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Do you remember where and how that fell, track listing wise? Reason I'm saying is maybe that, and this might have been the case, but when I hear singers have a song that is tough like that, tempo wise, and they get winded, usually to me, it'd be better off coming earlier in the set. And in the case of Kiss, maybe Gene sings back-to-back songs to give Paul some rest. And then the song before, Paul takes a fucking chill pill. I love him. I love him to death. The greatest part about the makeup coming off was Paul being an absolute maniac running all over that stage.
Yeah.
But if he's exhausting himself, the song before he's got to come back and sing this, probably not a smart move.
No, because if I'm not mistaken, and I can always look at the Live 3, but I'm thinking this thing fell about halfway through the show. Maybe just a little below halfway in that area. I know it did. It was not one of the first tracks. And, but yeah, him running around and stuff, man, not quite animalized running around at this time, but
no, but
still moving.
Though. It was still peak Paul Stanley. I mean,
yeah. He was still,
he didn't start to lose a step, energy wise or vocal wise till damn near the farewell tour. So he was still moving pretty damn good.
Yeah, he was. Actually, through the whole damn, at least through 2001, 2000, he was still doing pretty good on the Rock the Nation tour, which was 2004, I think. I think that's about the time that he kind of slowed down or whatever that I can remember. But of course, he couldn't go as far in the platforms as he did with his tennis shoes on,
Well, and somewhere in there, I'm not a historian. I'm sure somebody out there is. He did have one for sure, if not 2 hip replacements too throughout
And shoulder.
And the shoulder. So, I mean, he had all kinds of things that should have been slowing him down. And Paul, being Paul, refuses, including vocal problems, refuses to. That was one thing I was going to touch on, and it's a done deal already. But as long as I'm on Paul's vocal and we're talking about when he slowed down, real quick, he'd have been better off when he had all the vocal problems doing what I've heard Rob Halford doing, and some of these other people. When you know you can't do it, stop trying to do it and reinvent the way you sing the song. Change the tempo of the song. Change the octave you're doing it in. Your whole approach. There's no need to try to scream something out and kill everybody's eardrums because it's so awful. When you could just take it down a notch and make it more of a cool. Rob Halford's just check out, even if you're not a Priest fan, if you know old Priest, listen to some of his shows in the 2010s. He's smart enough to know I can't do that shit right now.
Yep.
So I'm going to make it, instead of a higher pitched scream, I'm going to take it down to a lower grovel or a cool, calm, collective delivery. Paul just refused, whether it was energy because of all of his body ailments. He'd still try to run around, still swinging his arm around after shoulder surgeries till the very last show of the end of the road. He just refused to say when. He didn't know when to say when and just change things. But there you go. I don't know where this came from, but it just seemed to fit.
I really did. I'm like, Paul, even when he come out with Detroit Rock City, man, hey, Detroit Rock City, just and he would throw all this extra stuff. Paul, wait, if you would just sing it how it is. You don't have to scream it, bro.
And why does he have to scream while he's talking in between songs? That was cool when he could, but dude, I saw Gene. There was a part in a show that I watched on the internet. And this is full End of the Road days, or the right before the End of the Road tour. And Gene actually makes a comment while Paul's all singing and screaming in between songs. He says, "Dude, save your voice."
Yeah.
I mean, if you're struggling, just say, "Hey, how y'all doing out there?" You don't have to scream it. You don't have to do the middle of 100,000 years. Take it out of the set. Anything that's going to basically waste your voice, take it out. Take it out. Talk like a human being. Sometimes his stage rants are almost borderline embarrassing. Before he had vocal problems, we're talking early to mid 80s, because why are you going on and screaming and just shut up, introduce the song and move on?
Yeah.
I know he's a great frontman, but my God. Yeah. Yes. Yes. A lot of that was annoying. That let me hear all the animals. And if I see one more fucking band, and the Kiss ain't the only one guilty of it. Okay. This section, and then the middle section, go. That is like a waste of fucking minutes. Who in the band had to go shit that you have to fucking do this and waste everybody's fucking time?
Yeah, and they could have played another song or so by the time.
So I just got us on a Kiss Live tangent.
Yeah, and it's easy to do too. And I was one more thing I was wanting to say about. I just want to the part where they slow down. Wake up, wake up. That drives me insane. That's really the main reason that it's number 7. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I would like an explanation for that. I would like an explanation for that.
Yeah.
Because that does not fit. That does not fit.
The high tempo of the song, I love. But when they break that down, and I'm trying to figure out what?
It makes no sense.
It doesn't, does it?
No. And I like breakdowns. If you look at Paul's Goodbye on his solo album, it's got a breakdown. Out on the road, it comes a different song, and Flamin' Youth but it keeps it still the tempo of the song for the most part. This goes from kick your ass to I don't get it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'm on board, man. I about forgot about that. I don't know how.
Okay, so that was your number what?
7 for me.
7?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my number 7, you've also touched on it, is Every Time I Look at You. The video had no bearing on me because, unlike Scott, I didn't even know this was a video till years later. By this point in my life, 92, I graduated high school. I was home long enough to sleep and shower, and that was about it. Living the life of Mark Slaughter, up all night, sleep all day. I didn't have time for TV. I didn't mind the ballad. I liked Forever better. This one I liked much better when I learned to appreciate symphony music with the strings they added in it. But I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was a skippable track for me, but most ballads were, unless it was a power ballad. Most ballads were skippable for me just because I was never in that I'm depressed and I want to think about breakups mood. That's just not who I am. That's more a chick. That's just more of a chick thing for me. But didn't hate it, didn't love it. Don't have really anything bad or great to say about it, so it just falls right in the towards the middle for me.
Okay, that's fair enough, man. That's what.
But seeing it years later, I was shocked because I'd never, and now there's photos leaked out all over the place, modern day and old, where Paul's got full beards and shit. I'd never seen him with facial hair. He's the world's hairiest man with his chest, right? But I'd never seen him with facial hair. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, are you fucking trying to be Nirvana or something? What the fuck is that look? Yeah, I did not like that.
Yeah, that one grabbed me too, dude. I was like, what? But I didn't see it for years later either. And I don't even know to this day if I've seen the Domino video. So,
oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
So there you go, man. I mean, but anyway, let's move on to something better. We'll try to find something better. Now, you've touched on this one already. I Just Wanna would have been number 6 if it hadn't had that middle section. And this would have been 7. So, yeah, it was a little tough, but tough love. Probably, to be honest with you, how it wound up here, I don't know. It's probably the most forgettable track on that album, if you want to ask me.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Tough love.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing.
And I really don't. I mean, Bruce plays some pretty good licks on that song, and Paul sings the shit out of it, but I just never found the groove of this song, man, on this album. And that's one thing that ain't never changed. I remember first listening to it, man, it was just, well, all right, I just one of those Kiss songs. That's it. And Paul, he tries to get up there a little bit on this song too. He does get up there a little bit, actually. And whiny, like you said, just the lyrics. This is just one of those songs, man. I don't hate it, but it ain't something that I'm going to have on a playlist. There you go. Number 6, Tough Love.
Okay, and my number 6 seems to be like we're one track off all the way through this, is I Just Wanna. And after that long, drawn-out discussion we had about Paul's voice and surgeries and mobility and everything that had nothing to do with the song, really.
Yeah.
I don't want this to come off negative because I love the song. I Just Wanna. Like Scott said, take out that middle part. I absolutely thought the video was fantastic. The high contrast with the blinding white background, and they're in such vivid colors and they're jet black, and it was a cool video. I love what it turned into. Yeah, I love the insinuation, and Paul was correct. in doing, like we said, why do you have to sing don't mean spit to me? Why can't you say shit? They knew I Just Wanna was going to be a single, so they can't just say I just want to fuck you or whatever. But they knew by saying fuck, the crowd was going to go there, right? You heard Bruce explain it on one of those, DVD releases or whatever. And they did.
Yeah.
The crowd got off on it.
Yeah.
And so they knew what they were doing with this one. It just, at the end of the day, I think that middle knocks it down more than one notch for me, because it takes you right out of the song, right? I mean, you're just right from the fucking beginning. You're just going, and then all of a sudden you're like, what? What just happened? And then you got to try to pick it back up. But I do love that, I don't want a romance with just a drum. I love it when they do the sing with just the drum track in the middle. But why is it coming off of that downtrodden thing? I don't know. But it's a great song. I didn't want to shit on it too much. We weren't really shitting on that. We were shitting on them doing it live. So yeah, good song. Take that middle part out. Just edit it right out.
That's
Lewis, get on it. Edit the middle out of that song.
Yeah, edit her out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor that went around for a long time that they ripped off that song "Ain't No Cure for the Summertime Blues" with that song, for that song.
I'd have to hear them both side by side.
Yeah, I never was able to put that one together. So there you go. But anyway, we will move to number 5. Okay. We're almost into my territory. Number 5 for me is "Heart of Chrome," a song that I've always liked, I'll have to say. I never really had anything against this song. It's a good song. Bruce plays his ass off on all these songs. The whole band does. The production really does this album some justice, man. I'm glad that Bob Ezrin did do this album for that reason, because he hit it right, in my opinion. I mean, I will give the album credit that if they would have got shitty production on this album, dude, say "Hot in the Shade" or something, dude.
Oh yeah.
Wow, but this is a song that's always been there in my top 5, 6, always. Never been my favorite on here, but it's a Paul sings the shit out of it.
Yeah.
You really made a fool out of me. I mean, he really, it's just a solid rock song, man, for this album, in my opinion. So that's my number 5.
Okay, number 5 for me. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, a lot of times there's not really much to say if there's not a lot of bad things about the song. It's just a solid,
and trust me,
song,
yeah, my top 5, I love every one of them. So, number 5 coming in for me is another anthem. Should have been anthem. Went over awesome live. Don't know why, other than throwing the makeup back on, so now they can only play, "Lick It Up" and "Heaven's on Fire" from the 80s, apparently, for the next 40 years. Take It Off. The lyrics are so clever, especially with the Alive 3 video. And I'm not one who likes the crap Motley Crue does by bringing the damn strippers up there for 9 songs, just for, shock and awe and to get the guys off on their jollies in the crowd. But unlike Motley Crue, who, when I went to work stage security for Carnival of Sins, right? Carnival of Sin, is that okay? These two bimbo bitches are up there on these fucking stripper poles for seemingly 20 fucking minutes while the band's sitting fucking backstage, not even fucking playing. I would have been pissed to be a fucking paying concert ticket holder I got to see it free front row because I was working stage security.
Oh,
If I'd
okay.
have had to pay for that, I'd get your fucking asses back on stage. I can go see strippers at the damn bar. I mean, that pissed me off. But it worked out cool with this
Hell
video for
yeah.
Take It Off. And I assume they didn't do it at every, town or whatever, but the lyrics, wave your panties in the air, lick your lips and shake your hair. I mean, he's just painting a picture of every hot chick you ever fucking saw, right? Being all seductive. Great, Take It Off. Just a yell, scream along chorus. A really fun song.
Damn right. I'm with you on that, dude. And I ain't got to it yet, but yeah. I'm with you on that, dude, all the way. So next for me, this may shock a lot of people, but I love the song. These last four here, I'm Kiss through and through. The best on the album to me, and all four of them I can listen to hell anytime. So number 4 is Unholy. And I know that it's everybody's go-to track on this album. I mean, if you're a Kiss fan of any kind, you do know that that's one everybody, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say anything different, to be honest with you. And these four could all be anywhere in this top 4 for me. And the only reason it wound up 4th for me this time is because of wear and tear, I guess, like rock and roll all night. It's what you hear when you think of Revenge, and it's what is representative of this album, is Unholy. I mean, and that's the one you're going to hear if they do. Well, God gave rock and roll to you, but this one way better. Way better. Great video. Kiss was raw again, man. They were damn near Marilyn Manson before he came out. That video was dark. It was damn cult-like. The Gene's eyes rolling in the back of his head and shit. Dude, yeah, this would have been the one that the parents, if it would have came out in the 70s, oh shit, yeah, Nights in Satan's Service right here, brother, all day long. And whether they knew what they were talking about or not, it says Unholy, look at them. But a great song, one of the best on this album, and a fan favorite on this album, bar none. I don't think that you can contest that. But that's just where it fell for me this time. And there's always been a couple of other songs that I've really and honestly have always liked just a little bit better. Not much, but my personal taste. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so that will bring me to my number 4. Another one when we've done our discussions, and we'll get into, I'm sure, set list discussions eventually, that there are 2 songs on this album. 2? Let me look at that again. Yeah, 3. 3 songs on this album that could have been, should have been staples over God of Thunder, certainly over War Machine. And this one is one of them in Thou Shall Not. Like I said, for me, this top 4 is rounded out by 3 Gene songs. And this is coming from a Paul Stanley fanatic who's always loved Paul songs more. This reminds me of Creatures of the Night and Live Up, to where Gene just took over the album. Why? Because he had that mean son of a bitch evil persona that had been lacking throughout the whole 80s, and Thou Shall Not is no different, and neither are the next 2 of the next 3 tracks from him. Evil, vicious, brutal. I love when this reminds me of Street Giveth, but more evil. I love when he's preaching against the man or against the preachers or whatever. It's just, I love this song. You can get behind the meaning. You can get behind the chorus. Hell, you get behind the verses and rock out. It's just a tremendous song.
That's it. I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm yet to reach that. I mean, to me, just as much of a demon song as Unholy for Gene on this album.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take it to number 3, and my favorite song for a long time when this came out. And you've touched on it just recently. Take It Off. When I first heard this, I was like, now that is Paul right there. That's a modern day Take Me amped up,
Yeah.
brother. And I mean, that was it, man. And my favorite song on that concert, because man, when them girls came out on the stage, boy, it was just everybody's tongue was dragging the ground, and
Yep.
it was a spectacle, man, and we loved the hell out of it, dude. In Charlotte, they were doing all kind of things. They were putting shaving cream, I mean, whipped cream and licking it off each other. I mean, they went beyond and above on that one. Greenville, they didn't do all that, but they did come out there, and I was front row in that, because like I said, it was general admission. And one little story to tell. We was getting ready. We hadn't got our tickets yet. Back then, you could just buy them right there because, I don't know how the hell we got them, because that place was so damn packed. It was Memorial Auditorium. It wasn't a stadium or arena. It was just it was a big auditorium, though. Probably 2,000 or 3,000 seater, maybe 3,500, something like that. But anyway, we walked in the front. The line was all the way around the building, so we had to walk past everybody in line and go in the doors beside of where everybody was going in, and to buy our tickets. And when we bought our tickets, I turned around and looked at this big, huge security guard, and I said, before we stepped back outside, he was standing right there in the hallway between the lines. And I said, bro, please let us go in. Nobody's looking. That line is all the way up the damn street. He said, man, I can't, dude. People, they'll get my cement. Ain't nobody paying attention. We'll go so fast, you won't even know it. And he just looked at me, and he just looked straight ahead out there, and we shot in. We did not have to get in line, nothing. That's how we got up front. It was general admission, back in, you stay all night in front of the door.
Was it that way for you, boy? When we do that, and I love general admission concerts where there's no chairs on the floor. They open them doors, and it's like a relay race of 2,000 people to see who can get down there first.
And I mean, running wide open, bro, like a 40-yard dash, man. Just, yes. I love that we got to experience those days, man.
Yes.
All the ticket prices were the same. You paid one price. You had no boundaries. You didn't have somebody standing at every exit. You could go anywhere you wanted to, man. And that was my, and Take It Off. Hey, get back to the song, but great song all the way through. I loved what it represented. I loved the cheesy back to the kind of rock and roll over and Love Gun roots, man. And dude, just perfection to me.
Okay. Up to my number 3, coming back in with Gene Simmons in one of the most wicked, unique songs I've heard him do, Paralyzed. The bass in this song is so wicked. He's got the bass, the woo things go all throughout the thing. And he's got that part of the song kind of doing a little bit of Living in Sin from his solo album with that low mumble as he's just talking. And It's just a wicked song. I love the chorus. I love Bruce's guitar sound in this song. Just a fabulous song, man.
Everything you said, man, I'm there. Because I am not far off, man. Here we go. And you just, that was your number 2?
Number 3.
Number 3? That's my
You're
number
up to
2.
your number.
Paralyzed.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. I'll give the MVP absolutely to Gene on this album. No question about it. Paul is my voice and was my favorite song for a long time on this album, man. And, but I'm telling you, man, Gene really showed up in true form on this album too, dude.
Yeah.
And with some of the greatest songs, man, Paralyzed, number 2, dude, just the Bruce, you know, starting that song, man.
Yeah.
I'm paralyzed in my eyes. I mean, just fucking rocking out, bro. This song here has always been up there for me, man. Always been right there, man. Always. There's always been, you know, one song ahead of it, but it's always been there. I've always loved this one since day one, and that's something that's never changed. You know, that's strange that, you know, Take It Off over time has lost a little bit of its value, but not much. Unholy lost a little bit of its value just to me now, but like I said, the top 4 songs in here, man, Unholy, Take It Off, and Paralyzed. I ain't got to my number 1 yet. And the next one, it could easily interchange at any point in time because those songs are what made this album. Damn, it made it great, actually, to me.
Yeah.
Because Revenge to me is a great Kiss album. I'm not going to call it a perfected Kiss album, but it is absolutely a great Kiss album. And like I said before, a lot of them hold this thing up as the holy grail of Kiss albums, bro. So, or one of them, anyway. But Paralyzed, ain't nothing bad to pick at, you know. So, number 2.
It's funny as we've been talking, and basically this has become the Gene Simmons review, the review album. Can you imagine how great 80s Kiss would have been when you think of, even if you love or hate the album, the tone and the vibe Gene gave you in The Elder?
Yes.
And Creatures of the Night and Lick It Up and Revenge. And everything in between was like wuss Gene. What he did to bookend the 80s into the early 90s was fucking incredible. And then everything in between when he became Mr. Hollywood was the cheesiest, stupid songs, weren't Kiss songs, were barely even rock songs. Imagine if Paul didn't have to put out 5 to 6 great tracks on every album because Gene was bringing Paralyzed type material. I mean, wow.
He just wasn't there. He wasn't getting the attention that it needed, and that's well documented, you know, and everybody knows that. And believe it or not, though, I don't really have much against Gene's Asylum songs, except maybe for one.
No.
They may be
Asylum was right. Asylum, he had some decent ones, but what was missing from that and all the rest of the 80s, where was this anger? He come off Lick It Up with Not for the Innocent and all this stuff, and he ends up with Paralyzed and Thou Shall Not, but everything in between was just kind of lighthearted Gene.
If he could have done Love's a Deadly Weapon, because I'm going to tell you, that damn song rock your damn brains out, man, with different lyrics. That would have been the demon song.
And different vocals to where he brings his angry Gene.
Yes. And I love Trial by Fire. I love Anyway.
I love Trial by Fire.
Secretly Cruel probably is my least one that I don't really care about. But anyway, we're getting on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on
Yeah.
Asylum because I will and not even
Yep.
realize it. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. I wish that would have been the case.
Okay, so my number 2 is Heart of Chrome, Paul Stanley's best song on this album as far as I'm concerned. By far the coolest song title on this album. He always has some awesome song titles. He is at peak power Paul Stanley on this one. You can feel the anger and the emotion with every word he's belting out in this song. I love how it just starts right away. Just, I'm about to rip your goddamn head off. And I just love this song. Love it. I loved it back then more than I Just Wanna and Take It Off. And every time I look at you, it's like everything Kiss has always released, for the most part, I'll find something better that I like off that same album, usually. The exception of like Heaven's on Fire and Lick It Up. But for the most part, whatever, and Tears Are Falling. But there's always songs that are overlooked by this band, especially, and not released, that I think should have been released.
I'm there with
you know, that's just me having my own taste that's different than theirs or the record companies or whatever. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's what we discussed a lot on the singles. You know, I mean, what who's telling you, who's who are you consorting with, man, to represent this album? You know, so but yeah, I mean, yeah, that's my number 5. That's in my top 5. Yeah, I like that song a lot too, man. It's not my favorite, but I've always liked that song too. And Heart of Chrome, yeah, that's a pretty cool damn name.
Yeah.
Okay, the finale of Our Revenge, number 1, and of course, he's already hit on it. And to me, this has been my favorite song. Like I said, 4 could interchange, but for as far as I can remember, I know for the last 10 years, maybe a little longer. I don't know. It's hard to keep track on when your songs change, but I'm going to say it's been a while. This song to me, I felt like, and I'll take anything that I can. Anybody tell me I'm wrong, I don't care, whatever, I'll take it. But if they would have released this instead of Unholy, I think it would have got accepted the same way, with a video and the album representation song. Could have led off with this song, Thou Shalt Not. This song, to me, is high octane from start to finish. It's got more speed and power than Unholy does. And Gene singing this song was out of his skin. Which one's that one? Is that
This is Deuce.
Oh, okay. Hey. Yeah. Mine's all over my feet down here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just back and forth, rubbing and meowing.
Yeah.
But Thou Shalt Not is a song that hit me, man, when I bought this, when it finally come to that point in time on the cassette days still. I had just started into the CDs. Just started, because the first, believe it or not, the first CDs I ever got in my life, I still have them. And they were AC/DC's Razor's Edge and the Damn Yankees' first album. That was the first CDs I got. So that's around this time period, right before, just like a year or so before. But anyway, Thou Shalt Not. Holy shit. Man, this right here is a song that, why in the hell they've never played this live that I've ever seen. That this is a freaking headbangers fucking song right here. A freaking just da na na na. When they start, man, I mean it just rocks, dude, all the way through. There's no breathing moment in this song. Gene is up on it with the vocals, man. Very quick vocals. Not as slow, a lot faster than Unholy. A lot more kick and power, but a different tempo. I love Unholy's tempo because it wouldn't sound right at that tempo. Unholy's got that.
Fair enough.
This right here's got that, look, these top four for me, man, could be anywhere in any point in time, but Thou Shalt Not has always hit me as this is Gene right here, man. This is Gene actually saying something that he probably really means.
Yeah.
But it's true in his lyrics.
Absolutely.
And the music to go along with it, that's my number one on Revenge.
Okay, and number one for me is Unholy. Kind of, again, you hate to tie in nostalgia or where was I doing or what was I doing to rate a song, but I will never forget this night as long as I live. World premiere video, Kiss Headbangers Ball. 8, 9 of our boys all gathered around one guy's, living room TV before we headed down to Drag Main Street. Had no idea. The internet was in its inception. You could maybe go out and do little things, but there was no fan sites. There was no music news sites, nothing. And I was, like I said, not watching MTV to even know what news was coming out or anything. I'd stopped buying, Hit Parader and Metal Edge and all that. So girls were my life by the time I, graduated high school. So Kiss became, number 2. When this video hit, and we're coming off of Hot in the Shade, and I got a room filled with my buddies who are diehard Kiss fans, and then a couple of them who are your Metallica, Anthrax type fans, who appreciate only, Kiss songs like, Strange Ways and She and stuff, just the real dark, evil stuff.
Yeah.
So they've been making fun of Rise to It and Hide Your Heart and all this shit. And I'm sitting there and that that ultrasound's going. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And man, when that I was like, what the fuck? And it kicks in, and the gold bronze lighting of this was epic. And then everybody's jaw seemingly drops immediately to the point where they could not speak because there's this long, wild-haired blonde drummer just beating the shit out of those drums. And we're like, this was fucking never allowed in Kiss ever. What the fuck am I watching? And then you're hearing this evil tone, satanic, kids drawing pentagrams on sidewalks. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Meanwhile, the Metallica and Anthrax friends are like, yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. So it was so epic. It changed my life for Kiss again. This must have been to me what it would have been to be 18, 19 years old in, say, 1974, 75 when the Kiss started appearing on TV. Because I wasn't old enough, I was born in 73. So, but for me, that was everything you heard, Beatles mania, whatever. This video was like, when it was over, it was just, we had no fucking idea what we just watched or heard. It was incredible. It was something Kiss hadn't sounded like in 10 years. They never looked this way. They finally found themselves. After the years of the glam stuff, all of a sudden you get these badass guys in leather, and Paul's got a shirt that says fuck on it. I'm like, what the fuck? This is unbelievably awesome. The song fit, the video fit, their look fit, everything fit. And I can't unexperience that. So this song will when someone says Revenge, Unholy's the first thing that comes to my mind. It just is, and it always will be. It had too big of an effect on me after everything I had to go through and defend this band did. Even though I liked the stuff, Most of my friends didn't through the 80s. And now I could sit back and say, and you're saying, huh? What were you saying about Kiss? Look at these bad boys. It was such a proud moment for me. I will cherish that song forever. And not to mention the fact, oh, by the way, it is 10 times better than God of Thunder. I'm sorry. I like God of Thunder. It's dated. It was dated by the end of the 70s. He needed something else. You can't hang the entire Demon gimmick on one song. And that's basically what he did. Because after God of Thunder, he had great songs. Christine 16, Dr. Love. None of that. Plaster Caster. None of that was Demon. None of it.
Yeah. He
Demon,
didn't represent the Demon song.
Yeah, it stopped after God of Thunder. He was more the Demon on the first 3 albums than he was through the end of the 70s, and then became the Demon again around Creatures and Lick It Up, then lost the Demon, and then he brought it back in Revenge. I mean, it's been so, he's like bipolar with his personality or his persona.
I agree.
Anyway, long story. This is why it's my favorite. On top of the fact it's a phenomenal song, Bruce's solo is unbelievable. I mean, put him up there with Eddie Van Halen and Satriani and all. I have never seen Bruce shred like this. And he even made the comment that Ezra and damn near had him break his fingers trying to play this shit. I mean, it's everything about this song is epic, and the whole package makes it number 1. Sorry for the long windbag discussion.
I couldn't have said it any different, and I don't think nobody could have said it any better. I mean, you know, Bruce, the unsung hero, man, he really shines on this album, bro.
Yeah.
And Ezra lets him, and that's what really, they all come back to form, because we've heard the stories. Ezra's a hard knuckle, man. He don't take no shit, and you're going to do what the fuck he says do, and he's going to do it the way he's going to do it if you're going to let him take control. And he did the job. I think, and I've heard in the past, that this was he wanted redemption for the Elder, which, of course, nowadays, the Elder is, it's a fan favorite of mine. I never really gave it a chance back then because it did hit me sideways, and it was so long before I ever even heard it. But anyway, I'm not going to for the Elder. But you're right when you said, when you think of this album, you think of Unholy. But my experience was a little different than yours, because I actually got the damn tape and heard it before I seen the video. See,
that would change a lot. Yeah.
That was what happened, because when I went in that music store, I knew it's the exact date that damn thing was going to be there. And evidently, up until that point in time, hell, back then, I was already in my early 20s. I was dating somebody at the time. Plus, I was working, and I wasn't sitting in front of the damn TV all the time, watching MTV and all that shit all the time. So evidently, when I was in front of the TV, it was not on at those point in times. So I experienced that was the first song I experienced on the album. But if I would have seen the video, and I seen the video and I loved it though. I mean, it really, but there's nothing like seeing that video first, like you did.
And hearing it for the first time. Yes. Yeah.
Because Heaven's on Fire.
Oh.
That's the first time I seen or heard that. It was world premiere video, MTV. And we were watching it over, and we knew when they were going to play it, and we'd be in front of the TV again when it first came out. That's something you never get, that video, that image, that everything out of your head when you see that for the first time, like you said, man. Especially something as raw and hard as Unholy and Kiss coming off of their 80s wave. The look and everything.
It's everything that could shock a Kiss fan rolled into one. The image from big hair and glammy to dark black and long, tamed hair, the evil sound, the evil imagery of, like I said, the freaky children in weird, time lapses and doing pentagrams, and then the unheard of, the unthinkable, the blonde Kiss member.
Yeah.
And he was making those drums his bitch, standing up and slamming them. It's like, what? I mean, like you said, I'm sure I would have still loved this song, but maybe as much as I do love Paralyzed and Thou Shalt Not, maybe they would have been my favorites had I heard them first. But when you don't know what's coming, you don't know Kiss is changing their sound or their look, or that there's a blonde member, and this all hits you at once with a fabulous song for the soundtrack of this video, it's just always going to be special for me.
Time, place, and nostalgia. It plays a part
Yeah.
in our lives and the songs that we love. Even though I try not to let it take over completely, because I'll still call what I call good or bad. To me, whether nostalgia plays a role in it or not, but sometimes it's so overpowering and overwhelming, you can't change that. So, and see, I seen the blonde member. That's what blew my mind in the store when I first went in. It was this freaking giant
back cover
poster on the display case under the glass or the plastic, and on the fucking wall, bro. And if I'm not mistaken, on the window glass facing outside. Somebody in that damn store really, Kiss really did go out of their way with this one to try, and they did get back to form, but they really did go a little harder, man, with everything to get their name back. And I applaud them for that. And I don't understand. I guess, I don't know. I guess most of the fans, and I wasn't the hugest fan of Hot in the Shade, man. I'll admit, I wasn't the hugest fan of Crazy.
Not me either. I liked some of it. Crazy Night, same thing. I liked some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, and that's, but if they, it was the concert of Hot in the Shade that really fucking blew me away. And then
still my best concerts.
Oh God. But anyway,
we'll get to the
I'm gonna keep I've talked about it. We've talked about it, guys, and we've still got that album to do coming up sooner or later. But the concert was, it wasn't far behind Hot in the Shade. I mean, literally, it was not far behind Hot in the Shade. No. It was a great show. The Alive 3. I wish they would have made an Alive 3 with Hot in the Shade. I hate it for Eric Carr, and this, there's so much we could go into that, and we're going to discuss it because I've got it in our thing. It's going to be one of those discussions like the reunion discussion where we're going to really go through things about the past members and how things was handled and stuff. Great album, everything, I'm 50-50. There's nothing on here I truly despise and was set on fire, even the ballad.
Right.
I'm just not a go-to guy on probably about half of this, but what the other half brings for me makes up for it and then some. And so I don't have a problem with it. But the way they handled things with Eric Carr, after I listened to the books, all of the books, I've listened to all of them numerous times, and how things was handled really, 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 really put a bad taste in my mouth, man. But I'm not going to get off on that tangent because there's another time and place for that for us. And our next album review is going to be, get ready, that way you can get prepared for it anytime you feel like it. So, Gene Simmons' solo album. We're
Oh
going.
wow,
We're going
you're gonna
back
make
and
me listen.
up and down. We're gonna tug of war, guys.
Beautiful,
But
beautiful.
revenge. I- What can you
All
say,
right.
man?
Well,
The video
yeah.
that shook his world, the posters that shook mine, and when I finally heard it,
And
it was
and the girls on stage that shook more than that.
yes, the concert guys were fucking awesome. Oh my God. If I could, my hands was on the stage. And I did get
Oh
lucky
yeah,
at the Greenville show.
you were down at
Yeah,
Snippers Row there.
they was a short, they was a short brunette, man, about that much. I guess I was about a head taller than her. She was standing right in front of me purposely, you know, and the crowd was just mashing us up against. You know how you know the force of the crowd in a general mission,
Oh yeah.
and you're pushing off of the damn stage, man. And she was about to pass out, and she turned around and said, "Can you lift me up so I can get some air? Because hell, we're passing people sideways and back,
Yeah.
just passing out in the damn crowd." I get down, somehow shuffle enough room, and I put her fine ass on my shoulders, man. And we're sitting there, I'm jamming out the best I can, but I'm like, fuck it, man, I'll take it, dude. I took her for as long as I could. I took her for a long way in that show, man. Before I finally had to let her down, but it saved her from losing her spot and passing out. And
I tell you,
it
we're
was,
gonna have to incorporate stories like that from
yes.
so
Oh,
so
dude.
if younger people who haven't experienced true general admission mobs can understand what it was like to grow up and go to concerts in the freaking 80s, man. Oh my God. Amazing.
If you were claustrophobic at all, or you
Oh,
were short,
if you can't take being in a sauna, because believe me, that girl was asking him to help for air because while you're on that floor, you cannot breathe. It is so much body heat down there, the stage light heat, it is suffocating.
and get your arms up somehow, because when they go up, they're not going back down, because he's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being in a dam. It it's compressive. There's no room.
Yeah.
Everybody's
You have no body control at all. None.
nothing.
No body control.
You get swayed too.
Sway with the crowd. Yep.
But yeah, we're gonna get on that, man, with concerts and stuff like that too. So
Absolutely.
you can
All right. Great show, man. That was fabulous.
good show.
All right. You want me to hang on after this or you want to call her a night? What's going on?
We'll call it a night tonight, because I gotta jump in the shower and all that stuff, and I am just beat down, man. This has
Beautiful.
been a few days for me. But we'll hang on after this, and we'll communicate a little bit, and then
Cool. Okay. Well, then until next time, everybody, thanks for watching.